Well, I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. And I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure. And that's a quote from the FFA Creed that I learned when I was in 9th grade. And I think my whole life has been one of service to other people in one form or another, starting, with 4-H and FFA and those leadership roles as a kid. And then I ended up teaching agriculture in high schools around Minnesota, developing those leadership skills and preparing our young people for the job market for like 10 years. And then I started a business with my wife, and we did an entire value chain, right from the farm all the way through to the consumer. And that involved changing federal and state laws to accommodate the types of products that we were doing. So I gained a lot of experience that way. And so I know what it's like to go a couple years without insurance because you can't afford it. And then finally, I shared my knowledge and our knowledge, I would say, with people overseas. And I worked in Eastern Europe, Africa, and even in Sri Lanka. And for example, I founded co-ops in Eastern Europe, and I went to East Africa and Eastern Europe and organized youth. And also, probably the most fun I had was making ice cream and cheese with people in Sri Lanka and the Middle East. So I think with that background behind me, that's what qualifies me to run for the Senate. I don't blame others for problems. I find solutions. And in government, solutions are for the common good, not personal gain. And this demands a lot of you and me. And for example, what would make you feel that you're qualified to vote? And I apply that to myself because actually we're the most important people when we go to the voting booth. Well, I've learned over the years that economic development requires a holistic picture. We have to connect all the dots in the community for it to be viable. It's not only just the economics, it's also the health, the education, and the general welfare of the community. So, we know that District 24 has a lot of resources. We have South Central Community College, we have good high schools, so we have education covered. We have the corridors, the 35 corridor and the 14 corridor for transportation, so it's easy in, easy out. We have a good labor force that includes every people from white-collar to blue-collar workers, so it's a very good environment for small to medium-sized businesses to come into. We have the resources. Now, how do we muster those resources? Well, I'll do everything I can to promote District 24 to new businesses as a place to either locate or to relocate and to come on down here. And so as we're looking and working through this, we need to rely on each other, come up with the solutions, and solicit expert advice to help us make those decisions that will take us to the place we want to be, not only today, but we really need a 50-year plan and be thinking in those terms. Well, put it this way, gridlock and the governor's executive order kind of come in two parts. Number one, the basis of his executive orders usually involved the governor calling in experts, listening to them, sorting through a wide variety of information, and then making those tough decisions. And one of the things that caught my attention early on is that the governor said, when asked by a reporter, well, what if what you're thinking doesn't come to pass the way you think? And he said, I'm responsible. I take responsibility for my decisions. And those were refreshing words that I don't hear very often from our government. And so when somebody takes a leadership role, yes, you make the tough decisions. And if it takes making an executive order, we needed to react much more quickly, and I think it's thanks to some of the decisions that he made that we were able to come out of COVID-19 as well as we have. And so gridlock at the Capitol being held captive in a sense. When we had things to vote on, like the bonding bill, maybe we need to rethink that politics shouldn't take precedence over public health, and economics don't necessarily take precedence over the common good. I think they can be compatible, and that's what we need to do. Let's stay focused on what has to be done for our common good and our community, rather than wondering who has power. Okay, well, we know that we're going to need like 5,600 more units by the year 2035, and there's lack of options for senior and affordable housing rental units, and there's a high percentage of single-family detached dwellings and a limited supply of multifamily dwellings. So, what we should be looking at, I think, are providing more options for senior living here. And in the more affordable housing area, we need to establish rent subsidy program for people below 30% AMI. We can do incentivized retention of nationally occurring affordable housing, and just take advantage of a host of programs from TIF, DEED, the MnDOT Safe Routes to School, MnDOT Local Road Improvement Program, the MnDOT Transportation Alternatives Program, and USDA Rural Development Community Facilities Program. All of these are bits and pieces and programs that can help us out. And perhaps, if we haven't already, we should be looking at revolving affordable housing trust funds that can help people make their down payments and get into houses. So that's where the first time ownership programs that will help young families, generally speaking, get into a house are things we can look at. Well, I think the Senate, if it works with the House and the governor, can contribute, to the development of this district. And, number one, we have so many resources and potential that we can take advantage of and we can offer. And COVID-19 has pulled back the curtain on the effects of lack of basic health care, injustice, climate change, educational opportunities, and our agricultural markets. These are all areas that we can have an influence on in the policies that we adopt at the state level. And so what can we do? Well, number one, we need to take care of our workers in our community. And there are bills that are pending concerning like a driver's license for all. We've had that before and we can have it again. Affordable housing, paid time off, health care that deal with these issues. We can incentivize developers to construct affordable and senior housing. And finally, we can stabilize the effects of COVID-19. And that's, basically public health, and when we get to that point, the equitable use of vaccines. Okay, as I said in my opening statement, I come from a broad background of experience, from teaching to running a business to actually helping others in other countries do a lot of the things that actually we worked out here. And I've always applied the lessons that we've learned in our own community, and guess what? They work. And that's what my main purpose is at going to the Senate. I've been very good over my career in connecting the dots. You can't just take one personal segment of your belief system and try to build a program on that. You have to everybody has to be included in it that's in the community. And that's what I want to do. So through town halls, meeting with groups, meeting with you individually, I think that we can make not only Minnesota work, but in particular District 24.